Welcome back. This is Sharon Vornholt, and in today's video, video 3, we're going to talk about step 3, and that's when the assets are sold. So if you remember, in the beginning, we talked about the other steps. Someone passes away. That's what starts the whole process of, opening a probate and settling the estate. So someone passes away, and this could be a period of time passes before they actually open the estate, which is step 2. So in step 2, this is where the estate is formally opened, and it's determined if there's a will, there's not a will, who's the executor, who's the administrator, and so forth. Now, once that is done, then folks can proceed with going forward and with the business of the estate. And the third step is selling the assets in the estate. So the executor or the administrator, one of their jobs is to keep the assets safe until everything happens along this process and the heirs ultimately get what's coming to them. So they are in charge of everything. They're in charge of bank accounts. They are the person that can sell real estate. They're the person that is in charge of selling all of the assets. So what kind of assets are we talking about? Well, it's everything. There's real property, which is real estate. And there is personal property, and that is anything that can be moved. It's stocks, bonds, jewelry, cars, bank accounts. Property, real property is real estate, land, houses, and it also encompasses things like drilling rights on property, or mineral rights, things like that. So anything that is attached to a property is real property. Now, what happens if, let's say, are there ever occasions where things don't have to be sold? Well, the answer is yes. Maybe you have the person had a survivorship deed on a house, which is common if you're a married couple. The house would not go through probate. It would pass directly to that person. The same thing could be true if it was a child. You could will a piece of property. If you don't have a spouse, you could will a piece of property to whomever you choose. The same thing is true about, for women, it's often jewelry. I want my daughter to have my jewelry, or I want my son to have my boat. So certain things that are named in a will can be given to that person directly. And then you've also got things that don't pass through probate that are beneficiary type things, like life insurance, investment accounts, different things. There can be different things for different people. But in general, the third step in the process is that the assets are sold. Now, in video 4, in the next video, we're going to talk about what happens after the assets are sold. What are the next steps that have to be taken before you can ever get to closing the estate? The one thing I want you to take away from this video is that you must sell the house in most cases. Unless it's a situation where the house is going to be inherited directly by someone, the property in an estate must be sold. And that's where the opportunity comes in for an investor. They need to sell the property, so the property is either going to be one that can be listed, it'll be a pretty property, or it will be a fixer-upper that needs a lot of repairs and or updates that the family's not going to want to do. Now, those are the types of properties that investors go after. You don't go after the pretty house that's going to be listed on the MLS. That's not going to be your property. So remember that at the end of this video series, and we're getting close to the end, I'm going to have an infographic for you that you can get and tack it up on your wall or whatever, so that you remember this process and the steps, because I want you to remember this is a legal process, and while it might be a little bit different from state to state, the general process is the same in the way things have to happen. So we've gotten through the first steps, the assets are sold. So now, how does the rest of this play out? Once the assets are sold, what happens next? And that's what we're going to talk about in this next video. So if you have any questions, leave them over on the blog, the Louisville Gals Real Estate blog, or send me an email at sharon@sharonvornholt.com, and I'll get your questions answered, and I'll see you in the next video.